Welcome to Face2Face with Olia. With real people, lifestyle, faces, and places from around the world. Smile. Be happy. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Olia.
As for myself, my testimony is that from age 14 to 40, I used the same feminine care product. And I know that Maya Angelou claimed or came up with the term, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. But I take
Mhm.
that and I put that in my feminine care statement. And I say, when your feminine care shows you who it is the first time, believe it, because it showed me for 21 years what it was. And for whatever reason, you just couldn't tell me something was wrong with that feminine care because I didn't believe that companies would put chemicals and toxins into something that would go in the most sensitive part of our bodies.
Yes.
However, when I turned 40, I went to the gynecologist because something extra was going on. And when I say extra, I mean that up to that point, I had excruciating cramps, heavy feminine flows to the point to where I would get out of the shower and it was there. I'm very transparent and very open. So just FYI. And
Yes.
when I went to the gynecologist because something extra was going on, I had to go back 3 days, back-to-back appointments with back-to-back blood work and tests. And when I came into the office on that Thursday morning, she told me, she said, "You are having an allergic reaction to your sanitary product. I don't know what you're
Wow.
using, but you need to stop using it immediately and find something else." And so that's what forced me to look for something else. I had no thought of changing because you couldn't tell me that this over-the-counter sanitary product had chemicals and toxins in it. It just
Wow.
didn't make sense to me. And
Yes.
unfortunately, we as women go through life a lot of times believing, in spite of the fact that the product is showing you what it is, it's showing you that it's causing excruciating cramps, it's showing you that you're having heavy feminine flows. But we, for whatever reason, choose not to believe it, as I did. But thank God for going to the gynecologist and her telling me that. And then 1 week later, I call it divine intervention. Norman Ray reached out to me and said, "Have you heard of Reign Feminine Care?" No, I haven't. How much is it? Tried it, fell in love with it, decided to become an ambassador because my feminine flow has changed to where my first 2 days I flow heavy, but not nearly as heavy as I used to. And by the time I finish and get to the end of my feminine flow cycle, I'm on panty liners. So that is amazing to me because I know my testimony and what I went through, and it was unreal. I used to change every hour on the hour when I was at work, and my sanitary napkins were soaked all the way through. And I had accidents at work, I had accidents on my sheets at home. It was just a normal routine of me preparing myself to get ready for that. And I just believe now that we just have to make smarter choices and understand that if you see something that is not right, question it, ask questions, research what you have, really dig deep and stop accepting that you have to suffer in silence because you don't. Now, with my testimony, I feel it's so important to do a demonstration because I have the sanitary products that I used from age 14 to 40, and I'd like to show you the difference. So I'm going to start
Awesome.
with this product. I don't bash brands, so I won't say what the brand is, but you can see that it's a thin product, but the sanitary napkin, you can actually see it inside.
Hmm.
Okay. And unbeknown to me, until further research and becoming a part of this company, I realized that in comparison to this, which by the way, we throw this in our purse, and all of the things at the bottom of our purse get inside of it, and we go to the restroom, we shake it out, and we use it. That's just
Yeah.
real. Okay. We do that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
telling the
That's
truth.
right. Yep.
Okay.
You're telling the truth.
Whereas I can take this sanitary napkin package, which is it says Jewel, but obviously, we've had a name change in this, and it's Reign, but it's the same product. And I can take this out. I can put this in my purse. Nothing gets inside. It's all, it's sealed up all the way. And there's a medical component to this, in that this can be sealed in this way because there are no toxins and this does not have to breathe. Whereas this is full of chemicals and toxins and it has to breathe in order for you to use it. It has to stay in a package like this.
So that's the other product. The last one you just showed this off the shelf product. That one.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And the other
Yes,
one
ma'am.
is spring. Okay. All
Yes,
right.
yes. And
Okay.
something that I want women to do as well, which I did not do until I started using Rain Feminine Care, is to look at your packaging and see what you have. Meaning, do you have an expiration date on your feminine care? That's okay.
Video stop.
We do have someone that's. We ask everybody to mute out, please. Mute your phones out, please.
I got mute. Now how you mute? Man, I got.
Okay.
Okay. Check
Okay.
your packaging, because my packaging says an expiration date on this one of July 17, 2022. But now when I check the packaging for this, and I won't show the packaging because then you'll know what the brand is, but it has no expiration date on that packaging. And this is for the over the counter. Additionally, the Reign Feminine Care packaging is waterproof. So in transit, you don't have to worry about anything getting inside of this package, whereas the packaging for my over-the-counter sanitary product that I use from 14 to 40, it's not waterproof. All types of things can get inside. In addition to, it's already open and susceptible to the elements because of how it has to breathe because of the chemicals. So think about that. Now, I'm going to do a demonstration and show you what's in my feminine care product that I use, and show you that there's also something called false advertising, because my product that I used for many years says 9 hours leak guard protection. And I'm going to show you the little piece that says that, because I find that so funny. It never lasted 9 minutes, rather less 9 hours. 9 hours leak guard protection.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'm going to take the Reign Sanitary Napkin, and I'm going to open this up and place it here. And I'm going to do a wet dry test by placing 50 milliliters of water on both. And I already have them in pre-filled cups. Okay, so I'm going to start with the over the counter and place 50 milliliters of water on that. And for those that don't already know, the reason that we go with 50 milliliters is because per the medical community, the average woman's feminine flow is 50 milliliters. And believe me, I know, I get it. I flowed well over 50 milliliters, but for this demonstration, that's what we will go with.
Okay.
And I'm going to pour another 50 milliliters over the Reign sanitary product.
And the Reign is what we're focusing on tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the Reign product.
Okay. Now, I know that, you know, we know the fact that over 600,000 women annually have hysterectomies in the United States. But the key to me is that 70% of those are women of color. And I know that for myself, with my mother, who actually had a hysterectomy years down the road after she had had children, you know, it was her last resort. I'm not saying that a hysterectomy should not be on the table, but I think that if it is, it should be at the very end. It's the last thing, and you've done everything possible to not have to have one. Whereas now, today, you find out that hysterectomies are sometimes the first option on the table. And that is so sad, because women are not able to go through the process of bringing a life into this world. And this is what our bodies were built for. We were built to be able to have to bring fruit into the world and multiply, you know. And so I just feel like it's a travesty, and women need to really research and again ask questions when your gynecologist or whoever says that you should have a hysterectomy. That should not be the first option on the table. And also be sure and check your feminine care, because sometimes it just needs to be a change. I know several women who changed their feminine care and stopped having issues with fibroids and all these other things. And when they went back to the doctor, it was like, oh, well, you don't need to have a hysterectomy anymore. You don't need to go through that. So it's just amazing how that stamina is, that actual stereotype, that's what I call it, is being brought about now, that women should have to have a hysterectomy. You don't have to have a hysterectomy and change the total anatomy of your body as a woman. You don't have to do that. Now, I want to go through this wet dry test. This is my over-the-counter sanitary napkin. I talked for a while, tried to give it a chance. Wet. This is what I sat in during that time of the month.
Wow.
Now I'm going to go through the Reign sanitary.
Familiar.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm not going to be nice with this, because I know people, oh, she's being nice because that's what she uses all the time. No, you see, I'm pressing down really, really hard on this sanitary napkin. So you have to ask yourself, do you want to be wet or do you want to be dry? Okay. And I understand why a lot of women wear tampons, because they sit in this all the time. But let's be clear, because now I'm going to go through each of these products and show you what's actually in them. The same things that are in this over-the-counter sanitary napkin are in a lot of the tampons, and toxic shock syndrome is real. Okay.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
Now, remember this: 9 hours lead guard protection. I haven't even been talking for 9 minutes. Yeah, the devil is a lie. Okay, let's go through this one. And I want to show you what's inside of this product that, again, I use from age 14 to 40. And I want to give you a visual, ladies. This is the top layer. So this is the part that we sit on. And this is plasticky and wet. That's all I can tell you. Plasticky and wet. So it's not hard, it's not soft, it's wet, it's in between. And then the next layer, do you see any color here? There's blue dye there. Okay. Why would there be blue dye in the most sensitive part of our body? Over time, this can go directly into our bloodstream. The next layer is our absorbency strip for the over-the-counter. All of this is the over-the-counter one. This is recycled newspaper that has gone through a 12-step bleaching process. And if I put this in a cup, which I'm going to do, but if I put it here overnight, and if we came back tomorrow, you would see that this would turn back brown to the color of the newspaper that it came from.
Wow.
But I'm going to put it in 50 more milliliters of water and hope that it may absorb. And then we're going to look at the bottom layer. This one, this bottom layer is literally a trash bag. It's just plastic. It's just plastic. So let me give you another visual. We have this bottom layer of plastic. And then on top of that, you have this recycled newspaper. And then you have this blue dye. And then you have this plasticky top layer that is wet and plasticky. That is a recipe for disaster. Okay. The recipe for disaster, because there are 3 things that create heat. Yeast, and that's moisture, darkness, and heat. So you need a sanitary napkin that's going to go against the moisture, the darkness, and the heat, because you already have moisture because it's that time of the month. You already have heat because during that time of the month, our body temperature goes up to 98.6 degrees. And you already have darkness because it's a dark area, it's a dark space. So any sanitary napkin that you use, you need to be able to combat those 3 things. That's why, again, a lot of women have yeast infections. Now, I'm going to go through the Reign sanitary napkin and show you what's inside, because that's only fair. And again, another visual. This is the top layer. So this part is the part that we sit on, and it is soft, and it is not wet. It is dry. Wow. And there are holes in this. Okay.
So you can
this
breathe.
means
you
that
can
it's
breathe. Yeah,
you can breathe down there. You have to have breathability. And when I say breathability, you need breathability from the part that you sit on to the part that attaches to the undergarment. You need breathability. Okay. Now, next layers. I'm going to talk about this graphene strip in just a minute. But if I take this bottom layer of cotton, it's just cotton. And if I add that to these other layers to include the top, we have a total of 8 layers of cotton in this sanitary napkin to include the top layer. And mixed in is polymer, a very high grade polymer. Remember I said that our body temperature goes up to 98.6 degrees? The polymer actually helps with that. It feels cool to the touch, but you don't feel cool in that area. So it helps with that, because that's going to happen regardless. Our body temperature is going to go up during that time of the month. And a lot of women say, you know, it's a hot box down there. It's hot. Yeah, it's supposed to be hot. That's what your body's doing. It's a natural thing. So we need something to go against that heat. And then this is the bottom layer, the part that goes on the undergarment. Do you see any lines?
Yes.
Okay, that means if I took this and put it over a tea kettle, steam would come through the top. Breathability. Okay, that's what we need. And this is not a trash bag as the other one over the counter. I can take this and put this in my compost and grind it up. It's good for me. It's good for you. It's good for the environment.
Wow.
Now I'm going to switch out and go into the graphene. For those of you that have not heard of graphene, I bet you've heard of graphite. If you've used a pencil, then you've heard of graphite, okay? If you take graphite and you break it down to 10 layers or less, it becomes graphene. Graphene is bendable, movable, pliable. It's used in a lot of different things. And it's actually an anomaly because it's the thinnest material known to man, but it also has more strength than anything known to man. And that's weird, but it really is true. And it was founded by two physicists in 2004 who won the Nobel Prize in 2010. And these are a couple of books on graphene. You can Google them. You can get them on Amazon. And you know, graphene, to make a long story short, is vibrational energy. And what that means is that it's always conducting, it's always alive, it's always moving. And, you know, normally, you know, when you think of graphene, people think of energy. Don't always think of energy in terms of electricity. Think of energy in terms of a water dam, like the Hoover Dam. We have
like a windmill, like a
a
windmill.
windmill.
It's you see it move. Okay.
Absolutely. And I'm from
Energy.
Oklahoma,
Yeah.
born and raised, and there are a lot of windmills in Oklahoma. So you can produce energy in a lot of different ways. But
Yeah.
for the sake of this demonstration, what I want to do is talk about the blood and the flow of the blood, because something that I noticed, again, I'm very transparent, is that the color of the blood when I used to use the over-the-counter sanitary napkins, it was brown. It was brown. And so I'm going to take this solution, it's iodine solution, and I'm going to put a few drops in there to dirty the water. Okay. And so I'm going to hold it up and let you see it. So now it's brown. And I'm going to take a panty. I took this out of a panty liner. This is another graphene strip. And I'm going to just stir that up. And do you see how it got clean?
Yes.
Okay. Graphene, when using this in combination with that time of the month, because it's actually in all of our feminine care, and I use our panty liners even when I'm not on my cycle. So I have the graphene already getting used to my body all the time, which is something women should think about. Don't sleep on panty liners, because I've had some women that have gone back and used the panty liners over the counter, and then they start having issues and they wonder why. And I tell them the same, trash, that's all I know, the word trash, the same trash that you're using over the counter is in the panty liners, and you're mixing the two. You're mixing a quality product with a non-quality product, and you want to stick with the quality product at all times. Now, as far as this change, a lot of areas of Africa, they have figured out, rather than trying to dig a well because they can't find wells, why don't we figure out how to purify the water in the wells that we have? So they're using graphene to help purify the water. So that is also what that does with your feminine flow. So my flow actually looks red whereas before it looked brown. So I noticed a total difference in that. Also, it helps with inflammation, cramping, pH balance, odor, you know, all the things that we deal with. And I want to talk about odor, and some people may kind of laugh. I didn't have an issue with odor, but I believe that's because I changed every hour on the hour. But if you're having an issue with odor, do not assume that's something that you have to go through during that time of the month. Check your feminine care. Okay, check. It's probably the feminine care that is the problem, and that's why you're having an odor. So you need to be aware of that. Additionally, excuse me, because I'm getting choked up. So I have some water in a cup. Thank God for being prepared. Okay. Now, and the other thing I want to say is graphene helps remove heat from your core. So in combination with the polymer, which is in our product and that has that kind of cooling effect, and the graphene, you have a good win-win balance to help with that heat in that area. And then the number one thing is that graphene is a 99.9% bacteria killer. And we need that in our feminine care. I mean, I'm telling you, I have a person that I'm dealing with right now, and I'm actually doing an experiment, and I'll report to you later. But she actually has a STD that she cannot get rid of. She got it years ago in college, and she has it, and she is going to use our product to see if during that time of the month she doesn't have flare-ups, because I believe that the graphene is going to help with that,
Yes.
because of the issue that she's dealing with. And she knows a circle of women who are dealing with the same thing. And I don't care what a woman has going on. I don't judge. I just want to help women live happier, healthier lives. And at the end of the day, I know that the testimony is in a generation of women that can not deal with cramps and not deal with excessive feminine flows and all those things, because my daughter started on Reign Feminine Care when she turned 13. And let me tell you, she doesn't know what cramps are. She's never had a cramp, and she's 14 and will be 15 in May.
Wow. That's
So
awesome.
I say,
great.
imagine a generation of women that don't have to go through the things that we have gone through. To me, that's
right.
testimony by itself. And if we can do that and build up our young girls to not have to go through all this, that's just one less thing they don't have to deal with. Just one less thing. So I have a very personal relationship with my feminine care. As I tell people, I'm very attached to it.
Got a personal relationship.
I have a personal relationship, and it's not
intimate and personal relationship. Yes.
And, I'm not saying that I love to see that time in the month, because I am looking forward to the day when I can just wear panty liners, but I do not shy away from it. I don't feel like, oh my gosh, here it comes again. I don't feel that way anymore, because I have everything in my arsenal that I need, from my heavy pack, which is from my super heavy pack. I've got those. I've got my heavy. I've got my moderates. And then by the end of my cycle, I'm back on panty liners with wings. So this is an awesome product. I can't say enough about it. I'm so thankful that Mr. Crump had the insight to create something in such a way that would help women change lives and change it not just today, but on a generational level. So that's my testimony. That's my story. Does anybody have any questions?
Awesome. You know what?
Beautiful.
Dr. Finnie, one of the things that when I was on my cycle, I'm not now, I'm in menopause, but when I used to hate that time of the month, because I knew it was, incidents, accidents, and things could happen. That I think the only time I probably was kind of happy to see it is when I didn't want to be pregnant.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
I was happy.
Hallelujah.
But that's a natural part of life. It's how God made us. And out of the Bible says we perish for lack of knowledge. And truly, a lot of women are suffering because of lack of knowledge. And what you just shared with us is education. So I want to open up the line for those that may have a question. I think James is on the line now, I believe it is, and Norman Ray is on as well. So we're going to open up the lines, ladies. Anyone has a question about the product of Reign or some of the things that Dr. Finnie has talked about? We want you to feel safe and to be able to talk. She's been very, very open. I am very open about our menstrual periods, because God made us that way. So why should we be ashamed? And why should we be ashamed to find out something that could help us? So we're opening up the line now. Questions for Dr. Finnie.
Dr. Finnie, James, can you show us the cup with the absorbency system?
Okay, I can show you both. Let me show you the one from over the counter, because I want you to see that there's still water in that.
So that's the other product other than Reign, over the counter product.
Yeah, 9 hours lead guard protection.
And no a date on it. No date.
No date. No on the
expiration days. Okay.
This is the Reign Feminine Care. It absorbs up to 10 times its weight.
Wow. Yeah. And it's not bulky, is it? It's not a bulky pack.
Oh my gosh. That is the best part, because it's so thin that women still have their femininity back. They don't have to feel like, again, I'm very open. They don't have to feel like they are wearing a diaper. Y'all know, people are programmed to think that, thicker is better. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. If you have a quality product that absorbs, it can be thin. And trust me, I'll just open it up, because for those of you that haven't seen it, this this is the money pack. This is the money pack. This black pack, everybody wants the black pack. And I'm going to show you, it's long. It's got double wings. Oh, this one right here makes me feel some kind of way when it's that time of the month, because I know I don't have any problems. This is what it looks like. This is the real deal.
It looks like it's huge, doesn't it?
It's so thin. It's so thin. It's so thin.
But you know what? Yeah, you know what, Dr. Finnie? Do you know that a lot of women, simply because the pad is light and it looks thin, in their minds, because we've been programmed to think big, thick, but I think most people want something thinner, but may not think it works. But what you just said right there, and I use them right now. I use the panty liners right now. So questions, the line is open for questions.
Hi, Dr. Finnie.
Hey, Neville.
Hi, can you address for those who may use the pad and experience some not exactly what everybody get right away, but if they continue to keep pushing through, they should see some differences?
Absolutely. For myself, I didn't see, okay, let me back up. The first thing I noticed was that my sanitary napkin absorbed. And it absorbed way more. Obviously, you saw the wet dry test. That's the first thing. Now, everybody should notice that. But as far as cramping and things like that, I didn't notice the difference until about 3 months in. My feminine flow really started to change after about 3 months for me. And for most women, that is the case. That being said, this is not a cure. Do not say Dr. Finnie said that if you start using this feminine care product that you won't have cramps anymore, or that you won't have a heavy feminine flow. What I will tell you is that if I have 25 different women to try Reign, I will have 25 different testimonies. I have some women that tell me I still flow heavy, but not as heavy as I used to, and I still cramp, but not as bad as I used to. I'm in that category. You have some women that are like, I'm just happy that I don't have an odor anymore, because that really bothered me. And I'm like, absolutely. So different testimonies, you know, everybody has to just try it and see. And at only $6 a package, why not give it a shot?
Why not give it a shot? Yes. Yes.
You know.
So we have some other folks online. Go ahead if you have a question.
Well, hi, this is Shaniqua. I'm just grateful to just be on the call and just to hear Dr. Finnie talk about the feminine care products. But and she's right, everybody's gonna have a different testimony, because I, like, y'all heard my testimony. Like my cramping, like I usually cramp every day, and the first day I used it, a couple hours later, I had no cramps. And my whole entire week, like it just changed my world. Like my flow, I went from a 7-day period to a 4.5-day period. So it's kind of like, it just opened my eyes, like, wow. So what I was using for the last, 20 years really was causing me a lot of problems, you know? And when you know better, you make better decisions. So I'm grateful just to have, this feminine product in my corner right now. It's a game changer. Awesome. It's a game changer.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing.
And Shanika just recently, go ahead. We ask you to mute your phone out, please. Mute your phone. Shanika just recently used the Reign product, and then she loved it so much she's a customer, and she became a distributor.
All in 24 hours.
All in 24 hours.
That sounds like me.
Yeah. So we have some other folks online. Well, we have the doctor online, Dr. Finnie Care. Anyone else have a question? This is a great opportunity for education. What we're trying to do now is educate women to change the mindset that we have been programmed for so long. Well, we thought what was right, but actually was wrong. And sometimes think something that is wrong is right. So we're trying to correct that. Anyone else on the line, you have a question? You have a question as to, I think Dr. Finnie has been very, very thorough in the demonstration. Some of you may have a question is, how can I get the product? How can I become a customer? If anyone have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat box or just come on in.
I will just add something about the black pack that I love.
Yes.
Just, another testimony for me, because I'm going to bring everybody, well, the women know. Okay, let's go there. Whenever we cough, whenever we sneeze, and it's that time of the month, that gush is coming.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. The black pack gets all of that.
It takes care of all of that.
Yeah.
Love it.
And having bladder problems and this bladder issue, leakage. That not many people want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about
I'll tell you. I had a son in 2011. He was a big boy. Oh, he was a big boy, and he laid on my bladder. So sometimes nobody knows this. I tinkle whenever I laugh or when I sneeze, but nobody knows because because when I check that panty liner, it's dry.
Wow. The absorbance. Yeah.
That's real. That's real.
Since people don't ask questions, I'll ask questions. How do you know what size you should get, or should it be that you try a variety, or when you're trying Reign? Can you talk about?
Yes, it depends on your feminine flow. Yeah, it actually depends on your feminine flow, because I use the black pack my first 2 days of my cycle, and then the next 2 days I use the heavy pack. And then the next 2 days, I'm on the moderate pack. And by the end of my cycle, I'm back on panty liner. So it depends on your feminine flow. It's not about your physical size. It's about your feminine flow and the amount that you flow every month. So you would judge it off of that, because, it's just about your flow. Absolutely.
And Dr. Finnie, you talked about, and sometimes as women, to be truthful, we've been ignorant about our menstrual cycle. We just think it happens and we're glad it's over and we keep going. So you talked about inflammation during this time of our menstrual cycle, the inflammation, what is happening to the body, to the woman's body. Of course, the heat, and where there's a lot of heat, and in our, sometimes we can, because of the dark place and the heat, bacteria comes. How many women really thought about, oh, this is bacteria? Really? Do we just say this is bacteria? And bacteria could be called yeast infections, although we may hear a little bit about it. We just want to take something maybe off the counter or whatever the prescriptions may be to get rid of the yeast infection. So what we're doing, ladies, and there's some gentlemen on, is trying to educate us as women about our bodies. Now, would you address, Dr. Finnie, a little bit about the inflammation that women have?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. That's something that the graphene really helps with, is the inflammation and the cramping, because that's what it is for. It helps with that. And speaking of, you mentioned something with the creams and things like that. I've done research and found that a lot of the over-the-counter sanitary napkin companies that, I just showed you this cup with the recycled newspaper. So they have put money into the sanitary napkins as well as the creams and the other medications that you use, because they know that this is going to make you flow heavy and give you cramps and yeast infections. And so they put money into that as well as the creams and the medication, so they can make money on both sides, because there is more money to be made in keeping people sick than it is to help people get better and make them well.
That's right. That's right. And so then I think sometimes the pharmaceutical people that observe women, I'm just talking about women right now. So women have cramps and they bleed heavy. Some do and some don't. Some bleed for longer periods of time. But if you have someone that is observing women, listening to women, so now they're creating medication. You have headaches, you have cramps. What do? You go and buy some products. You buy more products to get rid of the headaches, get rid of the pain. So it's like, when people really don't care about you, it's about profit first and people last. What we're talking about is people. And with this company, yes, you can create a business, become a distributor, as well as being a customer. But with this company, we are putting people first and the profitability. comes afterwards. I love that scripture in the book of Matthew 6:33, where the Lord tells us, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things, whatever the things, money, money, whatever, shall be added unto you. So anyone else have questions? This is an awesome privilege to have Dr. Finnie on, and she's available to answer any questions that you might have. So ladies, let's take advantage of that, because we have quite a few people online right now. Do not be shy. If you have a question, go ahead and ask Dr. Finnie. Yeah. Anyone else?
If I can, let me make a comment. We talk about Shaniqua coming in. There's a backside to that story. Harlanda called Shaniqua to talk to her about the Reign product. And Shaniqua was like, yes, I'm open. I'm very receptive to learning more about this product. In fact, I would like to hear more about it like right now. And so Harlanda went by her job and took her the product. Okay. And the fact is, Shaniqua used the product and she came on the call that night. And her testimony just blew us all away. She's like, well, normally, you know, if I can get off work early, if I'm home at this time of night with a hot pad on my back, a wet towel on my stomach, I'm grabbing everything out the medicine cabinet that got any aspirin at all, Bufferin Bear, this, that, other, and then I'm waiting for somebody to walk in and say, I love you, so I can cuss them out. That's how bad it is. She said, I use this product today and I'm on a call. My friends would be in shock to hear that I'm on the call. So we always say, each one reach one, each one help one. It was a blessing for the giver, Harlanda. It was a blessing for the receiver, Shaniqua. One last thing. I got a call this morning to go deliver an Audi, and I used to drive for Audi. I haven't done it for years, but my daughter called and said, we need a car delivered to Dublin, Georgia. So I go pick up the car, and the young lady that called me to deliver the car, she had been a customer previously, and she says, well, I don't need those products. I'm using the Diva cups. I said, poor thing. You know, they always tell you in the commercial that if you leave the bottle of water in your car and it heats up, all the carcinogens come out the bottle into the plastic and don't drink it. But now you're going to put it inside your body. So I gave her a pack of panty liners instead. So I take the car and I go down to see a nurse in Dublin, and I'm delivering her new 2021 Audi Q7. And while we're sitting there with a stack of paperwork and she's just busy signing and signing and signing, I said, while you're signing, have you ever heard of Reign Premium Sanitary Napkins? She looks at me like, is that part of this delivery? I said, babe, I love women. I cherish women. There's not a woman I'm coming within that 3 feet of that I'm not going to share this product and tell you about it. I said, are you aware of what's in your feminine hygiene products? And she was like, no. And we started talking about the recycle and the bleaching. I did a little mini Dr. Finnie. And when I got done, she was like, isn't this just wild? I got a guy bringing me a car and we converted over to feminine hygiene and sanitary napkins. Wow. I gave her my video. She's looking at the video. She said, oh, this is amazing. And I mean, every opportunity I get a chance to talk to somebody, I want them to know our queens deserve to experience that Reign experience.
Mm-hmm. You know, James, one of the things that I believe in very, very strongly, that when the mind has been indoctrinated and programmed to think a certain way, women are suffering in silence, but many times they will not open up, they will not share. It's not something they really feel comfortable, many of them are not, to talk about this product. So I believe education is one of the key. It's educating to continue. Because if you think about other products on the market, and because I'm in television and promotion and marketing and all of that, I know the importance of the companies putting a lot of money into marketing. And I'm just talking about the feminine products right now. They will do all sorts of commercials. They will hire famous people, put boxes on the shelves and make it pretty. What are they doing? They're programming the mind to say, this is good, this is safe. So normally people will not investigate it. So I believe with this particular product, we have to keep speaking about it. We got to keep sharing it. We got to keep showing the commercials on it. And as much as possible, stay before women and talk about this product and talk about it openly with freedom and with respect of how God has made our bodies. Because even though the women are hearing about this product, many of them see us, oh, I'm good. I've been using this for a long time. They may not realize that maybe some of their medical issues could be coming from what they're using, their feminine care. James, you mentioned there was a lady, if I'm not mistaken, I think she was, she may have been a beauty queen or something like that and had this product and they amputated her legs.
Yeah, there's a supermodel. Her name is Lauren Wasser.
Okay.
She was 24 years old. She went out, I guess, partying over the weekend, got home, maybe a little inebriated, passed out at home. She said she had come on her cycle and she went to sleep with a tampon in place. The next morning, she was unconscious and her mother called her and she said, I speak to my mom every morning. Her mother sent the police over to do a welfare check. She didn't answer the door. They knocked the door down. They took her to the emergency room. Her body, her organs had started shutting down from like gangrene. And the toxicologist came in and said, what are we doing here? He said, we've checked everything. There's no explanation as to what's going on. He said, check her for a tampon. They did. And she had already deteriorated so much from the graphene and the toxicology report, they had to amputate her right leg. And then they came back later on that year and amputated her left leg. So she is on TED Talks, Lauren Wasser, Toxic Shock.
Wow. Wow.
And Apostle? Yes,
go ahead.
This is Norman. Yeah, that story that James just talked about is so phenomenal. But to date, there's a 14-year-old young lady, 14-year-old young girl, who also actually, she's no longer with us because of toxic shock syndrome. So that's a real issue. But one of the things that Dr. Finnie probably could have touched on that I found, and Dr. Finnie, you'll remember this, the first conversation we had, I was so blown away. And I know it had to be a God sent for me to even talk with her because I had no idea. I wouldn't have had an idea knowing that she was even dealing with an issue. But what I love about what Dr. Finnie brings to the table, and I hope you ladies and gentlemen really get it, being transparent about this situation. My 26-year-old daughter, for quite a while, she heavy flows. But one of the things that she first experienced with this product was the fact that she had no smell. The other thing that really blew her mind is when she had my granddaughter last December. We actually sent her to the hospital with our super pad. Wow. The nurses at the hospital could not believe how that pad had actually absorbed her flow. They wanted to give her, I think the pad was about very thick and like a pamper. She didn't have to use it. So from her experience from that super pad led to her best girlfriend also having a baby last year who went to the hospital with the super pad. And both of them pregnant again this year. So you know what we're doing, right?
Right. Super pads.
Okay. All right.
I think it's awesome. It's awesome not only to have Dr. Finnie on and we so appreciate you, Dr. Finnie, for that thorough demonstration and your passion to get this word out to as many women and to men as well, because it is also the pads are very good for when people have bladder issues, and not only women but men also that has those issues. So to be able to talk openly, and how can you get this product? We may have some new people online tonight, and I think we do. If you have a question or if you're interested in becoming a customer, You know, if you're interested in becoming a customer and someone has invited you online tonight, make sure you get in contact with them. Maybe you may not want to talk about it online, which to me, God made our anatomy, you know, and whatever God made is good, and we should not be ashamed to talk about it. But we understand that if we've been programmed to suffer in silence, then sometimes it's very difficult to talk about something that maybe some people might feel ashamed of. You know, I don't want to talk about it. I just want it over. So if anyone is online and you're new and you're not a distributor, we just welcome all of the distributors to come online. It's a place where you can invite your customers or potential prospects to come online and partake of the education that's being presented. We're very honored to have such a powerful speaker to come on to share, not just share just because it's something she just does, but she has a passion for it. And so we're very honored and thankful for that. Also for Brother James and Norman, they talk very openly about this. You know, wherever they go, they talking about it. It may seem weird to women, you know, for these men to walk up and talk about it, but I'm sure you guys probably felt uncomfortable at first. We first began to talk about it, you know, like women said, what do they think? They're trying to hit on us or what? But no, it is a passion. You really do care about women. And so we need to be educated constantly. We need to educate our young girls because the younger generation won't have the mindset that a lot of us had. If we teach them while they're young, and it will become very, very natural for them to read the packages. It would to be responsible for what they put on their bodies and in their bodies. So, and they'll talk about it openly among themselves. It's just a certain generation that still has a little taboo. So I want to know if there's anybody else, if you're interested in being a customer, we welcome you. I'm telling you, for real, I've been using the products. I used the panty liners and they work. I've heard many testimonies of individuals that I've shared with that have been using the product as well. And I've just heard positive comments from them as well. So anybody else on the line that you have a question, we're getting ready to go off in just a few moments. Any questions for Dr. Finnie?
Go ahead and unmute and ask your question to Dr. Finnie.
Go ahead.
I want to know if you could go back to when you first was experiencing the pain and all the things that you were going through. I know now you know that, you know, it's a product that will keep you dry and do a whole lot of other things for you or help with your odor. But if I were coming to you to talk to you about the product, what would be maybe 4 words that I could say that would automatically get your attention, other than that it will keep you dry, it will help your odor, it will help the cramps? Is it anything else that I could just say, maybe 4 words and you thought, and it would really catch your attention? You know, because like a lot of times when you're experiencing that, people don't want to open up and say, I'm really cramping so bad, I'm having such a bad experience. But is there anything I could have said, could say to you then, back then, that would have caught your attention?
Back then, the thing that you could have said to me that would have clicked, and I say it now at the end of every segment of my IG Live, do you know what's in your feminine care? And that is, you can choose illness or you can choose wellness. Make a choice.
Yeah.
That would have gotten, yeah, that would have gotten my attention, because I was in an illness stage. And like I said, you know, the product was showing me what it was every day that I used it from age 14 to 40. So it's like, you know, do you want to keep choosing illness or do you want to choose wellness? You know, and then if somebody had given me a sample pack, because James carries sample packs in his back pocket, I guarantee you, when he goes somewhere, he's got
your little pouch, your little blue pouch.
Boom. If you so if you had given me a sample pack, I would have tried it and told me you could choose wellness over illness. It'd have been a wrap for me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
No problem. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Finnie. This is Wanda.
Yes.
I am so glad that I am on this call right now, because I needed to hear this. I talk to women a lot, but I needed to hear what I'm hearing, so that I can be more productive when I go out there and share our campaign, Justice for My Jewel. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Anyone else before we off? Okay. Again, we have some new people online. So if you want to get back with the person that invited you to come on, and we thank you, Dr. Finnie, for sharing with us and taking your time. Thank you for your passion and for your love for people. Thank you, James, as always. Thank you, Norman, as always, for being online, for opening up and sharing. We thank all of those of you, all of the distributors online. Thank you for joining us. We wanted to create a place where you can bring some folks to sign up to hear about the educational part of Reign Sanitary Napkins and how you can get this product, where you can get it from. We invite you to just join us on Monday nights at 7:30. Again, we just thank you, Dr. Finnie. Thank you so much. And I want you to share your program, when your program come on again, so people can catch you, because I think you're on like twice a week, correct?
Yes. I am on at 5 o'clock on Stunner Radio. That's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And
Okay.
that's my podcast. It's titled The Recipe. You'll see other small business owners that have a community focus, but you will also see me plug in Reign Feminine Care, because I do have testimonials from Coco Brown and Lily from SWV. And at the end of my podcast, I always tell people, feel free to tune in tonight. If you have Instagram, you can come on my Instagram live and see my IG live. Do you know what's in your feminine care? And that's at 9 p.m. every Thursday night, Eastern Standard Time.
And so you do demonstrations during that time on Thursday night? You do a lot of demonstrations? Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I do a demonstration, and I always bring on a Reign customer that shares their testimony.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We do honor you and appreciate you, and I look forward to continue to follow the work that God has given you to do. Thank you, James. Thank you, Brother Norman. Thank all of the distributors online. Thank all the new customers. Get back with the person that invited you on tonight. Again, this is Face to Face with Olia. Until next time, God bless you. Have a wonderful night. And remember, Queens reign. Queens reign. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.